Because we all want to help this mom who still has not gotten help or her account go to or nothing because she's the UE member that was set up and her mom's not awake yet to check anything and she has not checked her green dot card because there's not money on it. Because on the other side, they went ahead and stopped it from going into her account because of what they said in Arizona or wherever, because they said she's got a warrant in Arizona too. When she doesn't even live in Arizona. She's never even been to Arizona. But they tried to flip it and make it look, to save LaShawn, they tried to flip it and make it look like Tiffany set him up or some shit. Anyway, it's just ridiculous because Tiffany has never been to Arizona except to visit for a couple of days, and she was with somebody named Anthony and LaShawn. So she never would have set them up because LaShawn was her friend, who was not a game controller, but he played the game in real life. And they did tell Tiffany that he's supposed to be whatever it was they said to get the game quit or whatever else. And of course, he's way too afraid to talk to anybody because it's not really him anymore because he died, I guess, and he rolled into someone else. But the thing is he's way too afraid to even turn in his laptop, which would say a whole bunch of shit that the people in Portland are afraid he will get out to the wrong people in real life up there. And he does still have the thing, the computer and the system and everything. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. I hope he's watching right now. Whoever LaShawn Clumpet's player rolled into, because I'm the one that was fighting to keep you alive on this side. When your dad said he didn't want to pay $10,000 and he wished you would have just went to prison, but he wasn't talking about you. It was a different dad. And he was talking about a guy who had hurt his kids when he was younger. And he may or may not have been on your chain or someone else's, I'm not sure. But anyways, at some point, I ended up getting on your chain, or his chain, like Sean's chain, that rolled into somebody else's chain. And then a molester guy did get put on our chain. And I can't see them, and I've never played the game, so I don't know who it is. But anyway, it's just sad. Because I've been sitting here for 2 years. Literally for 2 years. While they did their investigations and humiliated me and did all this stuff to make me look like the biggest douchebag in here or whatever, when I'm not even in here. I'm a fucking mom. But half of them didn't know I was a mom because all I do is sit here. And because they took my mom Facebook down and they ruined it. They literally went into Google and deleted it from Google. And they told Tiffany yesterday that they have it up there in the Savior program with pictures of her being a mom and everything, but they're not showing them to Tiffany. That's just a memory one. Because they don't really have it at all. Remember when you crossed the bridge when they were saying, AK's there too, right? Yeah. Well, all of that stuff was in here, but most of it was not said out loud. It was in your mind, right? And when you were sitting at McDonald's trying to get internet, the reason why you couldn't connect is because they were blocking the signal because they wanted you to go to the hospital. Because when you go to the hospital, you're supposed to get disconnected or that there's people up here watching, But she didn't know where the hospitals were, so she crossed the bridge. And while she was crossing the bridge, she was letting them think, sorta, that she was going to go to the hospital on Mill Plain because that's the one that she knew where it was. But instead, she was smart and she went to Stephanie's house and she gave him her title to her car because she said they robbed somebody or something and there was all these jewels in her doors that were an insurance policy in her head, and that's what they were after or something. And it's just crazy because she doesn't know anybody who robs anyone or hurts anyone at all. It's just in the game. But it's so fucked up because it literally scared the shit out of her. And when she was at Stephanie's house, That's one of the reasons why Stephanie got so mad, because whoever was protecting Stephanie was pissed off that Tiffany would bring that drama to her house, thinking that she knew what was going on when she didn't. She just thought somebody was going to try to steal her car or uh, her ownership of it with her, whatever it's called, her license plate. It was California license plate, right? Well, she went to the DMV when AK was trying to turn it into his name legally, because this guy was involved, saying the whole time that it was their car because it was literally the nicest car that anyone had. They just pretended it didn't have the best system in it, or that it didn't have an oil leak. And best believe for a long time they went back in time and used the car and got it fixed or whatever in here. And then they went back and pulled it back over here before it had the oil leak. And then they copied it and pasted it and had several cars that looked just like it and a bunch of other cars. And that's when they learned how to do that kind of stuff with their power source, which was in fact an infinity statement, which you literally could do that to in this alternate universe where people kind of sort of live out lifelines. Now it's not really like that necessarily. You just have houses where you kick it in. But still, it's just crazy because Tiffany has been in here for way too long without a sponsor, like law enforcement or whatever it is, or is it? And she's never been in trouble. She's a good mom. Can't be one because AK keeps her ears stuck here with no car because he's too afraid she'll go flirt with some dude when he's not even her boyfriend. And it's not just him, it's them. It's the law enforcement or whoever it is in his body. And they don't want to get in trouble for whatever they're doing. And they want Tiffany to stay here because they're playing both sides of the fence. It's just so fucked up. She's not a bad person. She doesn't do drugs or nothing. She moved across the bridge 2 years ago to get off of needles that she did with AK Anthony Ciaz at that fucking Cora Street apartment, right? And the apartment wasn't fucked up. It wasn't full of needles everywhere, nothing. It was good. It was a good apartment. It's just, she left her whole life behind. She left her car that was just broken down then. And it was an X5 BMW, 2008. And the manager had told her, you're caught up with your payments, your COVID payments or whatever. And we pulled your file, so you're not gonna have to worry about it. We'll get rid of we'll hold on to your stuff for you, because they're getting ready to change hands into a different owner or whatever, and just come back and get your stuff whenever you can. Well, she never did, because every time she even thought about going to work, they would tell her not to go to work because they were doing what they were doing, playing the game or whatever they were doing. And it wasn't even that, they just didn't want her to go to Oregon. And her sister and her brother tried to help her a couple times, and see, Tiffany didn't even know that. Her sister and her brother tried to ask her a few times, like, do you want us to help you get your stuff? And she's like, no, that's okay, I'll get it later. Yeah, well, she never got it. And then somebody called her from up here who had called Sal somehow and said that AK was at her house stealing all of her shit. And not only that, but he was selling parts off of her car and a bunch of other stuff. And he had basically turned it into a flop house, and everybody that knew about it, that the door was unlocked and it could not lock in the front, was coming in and out of that house doing drugs, whatever they do there. It's called a flop house, right? And they steal shit, they swap it there, whatever, when he wasn't there. And when he was there, he would regulate or whatever and have his bitches there and shit. And then that's why he went to court and tried to get Tanika or whatever. And yeah, Tiffany was forced to go there. She did not want to fucking do it. But you don't understand what it's like when you're dealing with AK. You don't have the availability to say no to him. He wants you to do something. So he made them call the cops to let him in or get the board taken down or whatever, because it was still in Tiffany's name, which it wasn't supposed to be like that because she doesn't want an eviction on her record. But anyway, to let them into the apartment to get her stuff. So she went in there and whenever they stayed there for a little while, and she came back home when he left. And then apparently he went to court and made an arrangement for them to redo her lease, and they were going to catch up on the past due payments and start making payments or whatever. And she already knew it was never going to fucking happen because, first of all, AK's selfish and he didn't pay rent once, not the whole time he lived there for 2 years. Not once did he pay rent. He never helped her with anything, ever. He was just a user. And when she did do dope, she bought her own dope and she got him high when he came over, okay? It's just stupid because it's just dumb. Because it's just stupid, man. Because she had a fucking nice car and an apartment, and that motherfucker would not have come back from Arizona when she started talking to some boy or whatever, and because she got her fucking money for COVID. then it wouldn't have been like that because she was on a good track, man. She still did drugs, but still, she was like right there for just getting the right shit done. And then the UE told her when she won the game, literally, she crossed the bridge and gave the game back to the UE, right? Because she didn't like how it was played. She was supposed to get like $1 million or something, but they were supposed to be able to buy her apartment and a bunch of stuff to help her in real life. I mean, that's the shit they told her in her head. They probably could have did it, but her UE member signed a certificate of compliance or whatever for somebody named Anton, who she knew in real life on the ground, who was black with long hair, who was not in here at all. It was somebody pretending to be him, but he wasn't black, he was white. And whatever it was that happened, it just didn't work because they ended up taking the permission slip and doing a bunch of weird shit with it. And I don't think they got money on the ground or nothing. Or I don't know, maybe they did, but the problem is that they just left her here in Vancouver with nothing when she crossed the bridge to get the fuck away from not just AK and that whole life, but drugs and everything to be a better mom for her kids. And she was leading by example for her brother and her son who did Blues Clues and everything, just trying to be a support system. Meanwhile, she's got her sister there, Summer, who was not even playing the game necessarily, but thinking that Tiffany was against her this whole time, talking about, you're gonna get your nails and your hair done, Tiffany, or whatever, banging on her door. And Tiffany's like, what the fuck, man? I don't even know what you're talking about because I'm not playing a game. I'm on the other side talking to voices, talking about they're all this black guy that I'm supposed to be friends with who's supposed to be coming to pick me up, to take me across the bridge, to hold hands across the bridge or some crap, to own the universe or whatever. Anyways, it's a bunch of stuff happened, and at 7-Eleven, I jumped off the universe, bitch, and I turned it into a magic horn, or sideways figure eights without the porn power source, right? I literally screamed at 7-Eleven. I put my hands in the air and at the top of my lungs in front of the opposition, which was really just a white truck, yelling at some bitches, but they were blocking my mom's car, and I was not sure if they didn't like me or not, because the way they make you feel is that you're in front of the enemy, right? So I'm assuming I was in front of the enemy when I did it. And I screamed, fuck you, Syndicate, I own this bitch! Because in Oregon, they would call me Syndicate in my head, but you weren't allowed to say Syndicate or your name necessarily. So one side, it would be like, stand up and say your name. The other side would be like, don't say your name. So she was hearing both sides of the fence because they were playing both sides of the fence or whatever. And this is a legal part of it, where Tiffany said I jumped off my bed, which they call concubine bed, that did in fact have my cocoon on it, when they broke into the office and stole those checks. And the person who asked me to help them unlock the door, I had no idea that that's what they were doing. But the person who helped me unlock the door was, in fact, Anthony Ciaz, who was an informant / cop. Okay, so he was trying to set up Homeboy, and I fucking hated it because I don't like that kind of shit, but that's the kind of stuff that you don't get involved in. So what did I do? I went in my room and I sat in the corner of my bed inside my cocoon, and it's literally a round thing that covers me up so you can't see me. It's a thing I made to hide from the cameras that can't be seen, because I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that people were talking shit about me not cleaning my room or whatever. And they came in there and did whatever they did, and I'm sitting there just so fucking mad. And when you go back in time and you can sit with me or whatever, you can hear my brain stems thinking, I cannot believe my best friend is setting me up for failure like that, or that the law enforcement is letting him set me up for failure like that. Because regardless if there's cameras or not, my room is the only one attached to the fucking office, so why wouldn't they think I did it? You know what I'm saying? But they did let it go because it was Anthony Ciaz, so it's just annoying. And then I'm pretty sure that's one of the reasons why, and the packages too, the packages kept coming or whatever, right? And I'm honest, so I would bring them inside so nobody would steal them. But I don't know if anyone in my apartment stole anything out of it, or anybody else, either like AK or anybody else, because I never seen them steal anything. But when they opened, I would bring them over there and put them in the office, or I let them know that they're in my house. Let me know, I'll bring them to you. And I'm pretty sure that's why Big Voice in the Sky told me, and that was like 4 years ago, told me that when I was at Salantoni's visiting my daughter, Soraya, okay, she lives at Salantoni. She's lived there for, well, since she was 7, I think. When we broke up after 14 years of being married, we did not do drugs. We drank on the weekends. We were a normal family. I worked my ass off. He worked his ass off and everything. And I paid taxes and all kinds of shit, right, in Vancouver, Washington. And then we broke up and I became homeless. And with my mom, because she lived there too, she became homeless. And he moved in with Tony, his current, engagement party probably. And they're good people. They work for a living. And well, she's a stay-at-home mom now too. And he has another kid or whatever. And she has a kid too. So they have three, plus Bumblebee was my stepson and everything else. And my son had gotten kicked out from my house there, who I don't even remember. I think he was 15 years old because he got involved with stuff because I missed his recital where he was on a dance team and he was doing dubstep, and it was like the proudest thing that you could ever have when your son is on a dance team, right? Because usually boys don't do dance team, but he got on it because he could do dubstep dancing or lyrical dancing, and he was so fucking good at it. And he taught himself, and he had a solo performance. But I was always running late, especially with Soraya, a little girl, because I'm just a late person, and I was there, but I got there late and I didn't know you had to pay or sign up or whatever to get in. And I was literally like 2 minutes late and I missed it. Like I could watch him through the window and everything. And even my best friend Stephanie was there and recorded it, but he just literally like lost it. He lost it and he started, he said, fuck it. And he quit the dance team and everything and he just ended up doing drugs and not giving a fuck about nothing anymore because he's like, my mom doesn't care about me, which was not the truth at all. Anyways, it's just fucking traumatizing. And he ended up getting kicked out, and I mean, he still loves me. He's my baby, but he's not doing very good either. He couch hops in Portland, and his mom should be able to take care of him, but I couldn't ever have him come to my fucking apartment, whether I did or didn't do drugs, because AK was there, and just somebody you don't want your kid around. Even Lorenzo, my roommate, stayed in his room away from it because it's just not the people you want to hang out with or whatever. It's just gay, man. It's just stupid. When he's a fucking informant or a cop, it's like whatever the fuck he is, and it's very intimidating to talk shit about somebody. But like, it's just like go through everything I went through, it just not help me in real life, right? So anyway, that's a sad story, but I forgot where I was going with this. I'm the one that wrote people and said, be a part of my millionaire company called the Deity Program. It's supposed to be the savior program and get you off the mark and the beast, right? Because they're looking through our eyes illegally. But it's not just that, bro. I had multiple power sources or honey beacons on, including the UEs, which is upper echelon, right? And these ones were not from here. They were from Arizona. And well, she's helping me fix dream books, which is where it separates different people's lives, because I had a one line on the bottom that shows me sitting on my bed talking to myself, but it wasn't me talking, it was them talking to me back and forth. So like I'd be like, so how are you? And they're like, oh yeah, we're fine, how are you? And I'm like, oh, we're good. But it was all things through my voice. And in here, when they record it, they don't ever hear one solid story because they just trail on to somebody else in a different line. But on my side, you can hear one long story and it sounds like I'm talking to myself. Well, I'm not. It's them talking to me. And somebody keeps trying to say something. What? Well, right now they're saying that somebody named me is on my Facebook, or their Facebook is another female probably, saying that they're saying that she hurt her kids on purpose, or they hurt their kids on purpose to stand up for somebody else who's being blamed for hurting their kids on purpose, when nobody hurt their fucking kids on purpose except two guys who had, now it's two because there's another molester from Arizona, I guess, on somebody in, okay, well, maybe he's not Arizona, he's a law enforcement agency guy, and that's right, they told me yesterday that he didn't hurt his kids either, but in here it looked like he did because his wife was a CPS worker protecting her kids from the same guy that got put on our chain. So anyway, it's a complicated situation, but in here, if you lay down and have sex with a woman who's married, right, and who has kids, their kids, if you switch the power source or however it ends up working out, it all had to do with Tiffany's iSTEM codes, because when you look at people, you can turn into the other person. And it's complicated to explain to you how this works, but it's true, all right? So when you look at the person, you might not know it, but up here, you turn into somebody else. And the people who are watching out for you, like the CPS workers up here, might think that you're making out with your kid or having sex with your kid or whatever that was happening in here. And I guess it happened all the time. because they copied our power source and were using our wives' bodies, or they flipped it around and it ended up looking like that. Because the thing is that they gave me the iStem codes that can scan stuff, right? So I can scan my ID. I literally have ticks on my ID. If they didn't erase, they did erase it because it showed the win from Lines Roar and everything. Fucking douchebags. It also showed all the embezzlements, settlement statements from when I was over there, and who it went through AR-14 and shit, and how we paid them back, even though it was illegal for them to pull the money from the offshore accounts in here or whatever, because there was like $10 million in there, they said, but they pulled the money in, right, and helped pay back all the embezzlement stuff, and there was still a bunch of money left over, and they floated it in the syndicate or whatever, and I never got a penny of any of it. They never gave it to me at all. I didn't want it anyway because it was that, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it's trades for goods and services, reinvested in the S Corporation, right? On this side, it was called the Empress Division, which was supposed to be for Soraya and Mommy, not porn or whatever they were doing. It was literally supposed to go with the UE, but I can't see who controls it because I'm not in there. But anyway, yeah, it just felt like it turned into somebody different. Oh, it turned us into a non-vape pen either, which is weird. Anyways, because they backward scanned me and again over there, so now everything's really fucked up. But anyways, so anyway, that's how the child abuse thing happened in here for so many different people, and they didn't really understand how that worked before, but it does in fact have something to do with looking into your eyes, right? It can flip you into the other person. So that's why, or bring them in here. So that's why when I'm talking to people now, I can't even look at them in the eyes because it will turn the person that I am in here, who's in my body, it'll turn them into looking like that person. And I don't know if it actually puts their body on or not. But it does, yeah. So everybody in here has to walk around with their head down. They can't really look at anybody else. And I'm a proud person, so when I talk to people, like whoever, law enforcement or a boss or whatever, I look at them in the eyes and I'm an honest person. I shake firmly or whatever, and I'm proud to be who I am. But the simple fact that they're trying to destroy my identity, and these people are talking out of my mouth, okay? The simple fact that they're trying to destroy my identity for ownership of this program or whatever, and or to cover up for what they did when they set us up. And it wasn't me at first, it was someone else in here, because somebody had turned into somebody different with my iStem codes that was making out with their husband or wife or boyfriend, right, in here, which was somebody on my chain, and it was to somebody that I know. And they thought I could see them, but I can't. It's just that we connect through the computer system up here. And there's tons of people in here. And tons of people in here do work for law enforcement and everything, but they can't reach their bodies on the ground still, and they don't know it either. And it's literally going to take somebody like Tiffany and maybe somebody else, if anybody else did really get these fucking iStem codes from the sky, seeing the stars or whatever, we're not saying, because they had to go through the whole process of me burning and everything. I got this bracelet you can scan with my power source, which is the Anomaly, which is the one I look naked on right now. But anyways, if you scan it with my bracelet, which you probably can't scan it because they changed the iStem code thing, but if you were to look at it and scan it, your body would start burning immediately, but only in pieces, because they had to split it up and tincture it so many different ways with Robotrons that were literally built by Kyrosyria, who is somebody from Japan, and the Japan's power plant owner, who was a very rich man. It was his son, and his son had went through Sweden and everything to be able to speak English because he fell in love with my UE member, right? And he's the one that was building all these Robotrons or whatever to keep us alive. And at first it was for the gamma that went in my eyes from watching the TV. It pulled it in here as little pixelated whatevers that was making everybody blind and killing them. But then I saw the stars, and it instantly dehydrated me and made my body burn. But anyways, thousands and thousands of Robotrons they made on the wall at the hospital to keep Tiffany alive on the ground and to keep her UE member alive. Well, after that, she got depressed because she got separated from Tiffany, and she never knew that Tiffany was not in here at all, because when they talk to Tiffany, they're up here as lids, and they're not even necessarily looking through her eyes or whatever necessarily, but they thought Tiffany was in here. So when they told Tiffany you can't be a syndicate and a UE member at the same time, and she's like, I know, okay, or whatever, she's like, watch me, right? But she didn't know what that meant. She thought it meant you can't be a UE member and a stripper at the same time, because Tiffany is not a stripper, right? And her whole plan was she was hoping to meet her friend that played the game. We're not going to say his name, but anyways, hoping she would meet him and be able to get him off drugs with her, and then maybe they could take a shot at being better parents together, because he had a kid too. And she only thought that because That's what they were leading her to believe in here. So they had her walk all the way up to the store with a bouquet of flowers or some cheesy ass shit, right? Because the person was in here acting like they were him, like, yeah, pick them for me or whatever. And she was going to give them to him or whatever, but he never showed up. And she never talked to him on the phone either. It was just in her head. And he never showed up in here, but somebody up here might have got credit for that when they shouldn't have, because that's stupid, because they were on the phone and it was confusing. Anyways, she never got picked up by anybody from Oregon because they said they couldn't cross the bridge, and they couldn't cross the bridge because they would get disconnected from whatever they were doing and then be looked at over here as a piece of shit for never showing up to pick up Tiffany, who was basically your best friend. You probably would have won $1 million. It's just so gay. But anyways, that was 2 years ago in February, because they just did an investigation off my head, all right, in Portland. And it was not just cops, it was FBI and everything, dude. And it was such a big one. And Hark the Herald Angels Sing is literally something from the FBI in Portland, and it's a code name. If they enter it into the computer and in Oregon, they'll know what I'm talking about, all right? But the thing is that I didn't have a cosigner and I wasn't playing the game. But so I'm talking to people who are playing the game that are talking shit, and I'm talking to FBI and different people. And they also knew that I didn't want anyone looking through my eyes, let alone sitting with me. Well, I didn't want to have sex with somebody that I was having sex with, that I basically had to have sex with. I can't even explain to you how fucked up it is anyways. The FBI knew that something was going on. I just didn't know what it was, and I didn't know to call them at the time because I thought that these were just voices in my head that were just meth-induced psychosis, sort of. But anyways, Hark the Herald Angel Sing is literally a thing. So I guess I'm gonna have to send this to the FBI, and hopefully they'll watch it and listen to what I'm saying. Because if you're in here, because these ones are in here, but they're not from Oregon, they're from Arizona or somewhere, or Idaho right now, because that's the state we're in. But anyway, blue peacock calling doesn't look blue, huh? I think they just totally disconnected us. We're just empty, bro. Before, they would show me pictures and stuff that were blue. Whenever anything's blue, that means it's blessed by the UE, whether it's FBI or whatever, it's not. But they gave you lifelines where you could stay alive and stuff in here, and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so Hark the Herald Angel Sing is one thing, right? And I made my own investigation, secretly indicting the secret indictments that may or may not existed or whatever, because of how much money I should have gotten right now, not just for them invading my privacy and literally sitting on my fucking head doing investigations from here. And I don't know the name of the one that was doing it, that was rolled down onto my body, keeping me protected, but I'm the one that threatened to blow him up with meth smoke, okay? And he is from Oregon, and it's not Reynolds, it's somebody else, but that's who they call him. And they got this huge settlement statement because of the back of the hand, first of all, and then the situation from Japan where they got permission or sold my iStem codes to a different country or whatever it was or wasn't, or my power source abilities and everything else that went in there, which was a UE thing over here from Arizona and everything. And it's just depressing because I'm not in there to stick up for myself, but they did roll me down my emerald, right? Which was like $150 million on 1/3 of it, because apparently they have to split it between me and one other person and another person because I'm on a chain, you know. But the thing is that was my relationship with them, that they went behind my back and they used my permission slip for somebody named Anton Ide, who was long hair, whatever. But the guy that went up there wasn't even black or whatever. It's law enforcement, I guess, supposedly. Yeah, right. Anyway, they went up there and got permission or did whatever they did, and they rolled me down my emerald, right? And it's supposed to be worth money in real life because of whatever it was that they did. And they did back of the hand, which is something, it's a submit transmission where you turn some bad guys in and you free the ones that were illegally accused, right? And they did this through my eyes. I literally stood there for like, I don't know, an hour, maybe 2 hours, while someone else was waiting to get his body on, okay? And they did it through my eyes. Now, I can't see the emerald that they rolled down here. It's hard to explain. It has to do with being a UE member, okay? Because I can see certain things that are see-through and things that fall into my room. I don't even know if they're hearing me, but I can see certain things that fall into my room or whatever, but I can't see the emerald, okay? But I know it existed. And it was a lot of money between the back of the hand thing that they did and the agreement that they made with Japan that they got to split 3 ways. It should have went to the ground that I got some sort of help or financial institutions calling me, asking me how to set up my trust fund for the Empress division that's supposed to be for my daughter when she turns 18 and everything else, because that also got reinvested in the S corporation up here called the Empress, which is the deity program. And this is something people don't understand. I wasn't talking about owning an S corporation after they threatened my life in Oregon to stop saying I own an S corporation after 1 whole year, or a little over 1 whole year, of us developing this S corporation in the sky for Tiffany to not just get released from whatever she's on or disconnected if she wanted to, but she can't be disconnected because she's UE and she's on life support from seeing the stars. But it is with women and it is a bunch of people in law enforcement, but it is mostly from Oregon. And now we've connected with some people in Portland and not Arizona at all. And I don't know if we said that backwards or not, but anyway, it has to be in Oregon because of how it's connected. But it all started with the Empress division, which was in fact from Arizona, kind of. Anyway, however you look at it, there's a lot of money in here for Tiffany on the ground to be able to do whatever she wants for the rest of her life, who has never hurt another human being ever on the planet, ever. And here we can see what's on her head, okay? I keep putting different things on her head, but she was driving around when she got picked up from the airport with this huge crown following their car or whatever, because that was the Empress crown. And it's just so messed up because it was supposed to be something way different. It protects kids and all. It protects our brain stems from being invaded like Tiffany's. So it protects our brain stems from people looking through our eyes illegally, making us feel like we're being watched, listened to, recorded, written down. And then if you do get connected the right way, you know, like certain rich people can, you can get connected and they can, you know, scan your body in and they can make you feel better through a computer system physically. If you're in pain or whatever, they can dull your pain, they can give you vitamins from the sky and all kinds of stuff. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's a real thing, okay? But I already can't use those things because I'm backwards scanned in and they red burnt my brain lobe back here so that I can't get any more bodies on make me feel like that. So I'm basically double fucked. I'm double fucked, so I can't even take advantage of these programs and these benefits that are in the Empress division in Arizona and Portland, let alone the deity group advantages, unless I work for law enforcement. And that has to do with timeshares and stuff. But the S corporation / deity group, it does too have stocks and bonds and all kinds of shit in it. And the guy gave me my 9 shares, or gave me 9 shares that he thought I deserved out of 21 when there was only 21 shares in ownership of this situation, because they made me do arm dances like this in the bathroom that literally was pulling my life force out of my body electronically over and over and over again, making them rich on the other side. And he felt bad because he didn't know I was a mom, or that I wasn't even playing and wasn't in here, and that I had been accused of what his son was accused of, or what his son had done in the past. And because he was on my chain. And I'm not going to say what it was, but I guess it was the child abuse thing. And that's not what they were trying to cover up either. What they were trying to cover up is that they were using UE bodies or UE benefits from the STEM codes, which is where you can read each other's mind, or you can keep an eye on your assailant and your sidewinder, right? And spy on people, I guess. And for that whole thing up there on the other side, which they weren't supposed to do. But also they didn't know how to explain where all these child abuse cases came from in here, because when you look at the other person, it turns you into them. And then the kids on the other side, which are being protected by so-and-so, it gets really confusing. But anyways, there's thousands of cases and they just keep getting banished now. Now we figured it out. And so good thing Tiffany figured it out. And now we don't figured it out because Tiffany wasn't sure exactly how it worked, if they were using the woman's body illegally, like a guy was driving the train to do whatever they're saying, like maybe Tiffany, who's a UE member, where they drive her trainer and make it look like she's doing something she's not doing, but it's a picture-in-picture situation. So they're seeing reflections of Tiffany. And they're like, oh yeah, well, Tiffany did this, or Tiffany did that, or she definitely did this back then. But that's not it. It's that she's a fucking UE member down here on the ground, and we're seeing reflections of her in these videos over here and over there. And that's how that one guy set her up in court yesterday. And this is probably going to trip some people out in Portland, because I heard, and I'm not sure which thing it was that they went to court for, but I heard that they went to court and that the judge, for whatever was floating when they killed my player, okay, for ownership of the S corporation or whatever this is in Portland or wherever it is, I heard that the judge said She slammed the gavel down. By the way, there's a poem on that Tiffany CS website, and I mean Facebook, and the Tiffany Browning Facebook, that literally, it's like Heartless Betrayal or one of the other ones, that literally states her timelines in here and stuff that she's went through in here when she's not even in here. So her player went through this stuff or was accused of this stuff in here, and it says in there, MNR cases with S and Ape. 600 setups in progress. Don't trust the process, okay? And that's because she also had a rapist on her line at one point. But anyways, they're calling it a rapist because of the UE benefits and or using women's bodies illegally or having sex with their bodies illegally because someone else has their body on with their magic benefits or whatever, and the person on the ground did not give them permission to have sex with their body or whatever they're saying, let alone use permissions to put beautiful bodies on and do all this stuff to just turn right around and call Tiffany a diseased vagina or somebody who's spreading around STDs or whatever, because they're the ones that put the bodies on me and mixed it in with my body or whatever. And I guess I have an STD or 2 or 3 or 5. We did have fucking HIV in like 3 levels up, but we solved it and got the Gape Hall off the list or whatever. But it's just messed up, man. It's just messed up, especially when you do needles, and you can get hep C if you have a body on. So if you're connected to another body in here and they have hep C, your dick can stop working or stop ejaculating in real life and a whole bunch of stuff. Like I literally got a canker sore on my tongue from one of the people that had, you know, a canker sore when they were close enough to me, part of my legion, right? And then they left, and 2 hours later, the hole in my tongue was gone. And I know you don't believe me, but it's true. And I bled straight blood, not just a little bit of blood, but straight blood out of my pee hole when I was not peeing. I was standing there, and all of a sudden it goes bloop. And I did it, and it was recorded and everything. I grabbed the toilet paper because I knew people were paying attention. I was like, I know this is not possible. Let me look at it. And there's this big, huge, bloody hole in my toilet paper, purple red blood out of my pee hole. Not my vagina, but my pee hole. All right. And now I'm literally almost steadily bleeding straight blood when I pee and everything. And it does go off and on. But anyways, not to mention this right here, this scab right here, and then this right here, this like this really, really chapped lip thing. This is not my zit, and this is not my chapped lip. I'm literally connected to 2 dudes in here with my skins on, and this one has a zit here and he gets zits here and wherever else, and this one, they're not law enforcement, and this one has a really, really chapped lip because he does guard prison cells or whatever it is that he has to do for punishment here outside, and he gets wind burnt or constantly going like that or something. Anyways, it's just messed up because these 2 people are part me and they have to go through all the embarrassing shit or whatever. And there's somebody on my dome piece who's literally like embedded into my God's helmet now to be able to go up against me. He's the same one that set it up in court. Oh, I didn't get to finish saying that. Okay, so anyways, the guy who's embedded in my body who's against me for ownership or whatever because they're trying to protect whatever or they want to be a millionaire or whatever, right? He's the one that was over there in court in here. I don't know if he was in the audience or if he was a whatever, like a cop or whatever he is or isn't. And he's the one that had to wait until it was like this because I was the one on the bottom and could see a reflection of just me or whatever. Anyway, and he was so nervous standing there hoping that the lady did not look all the way through the whatever, the layers. Anyways, the point is up here, she said she watched a video that was, I don't know if it was a link or what, because apparently on the ground it's just shit that they submitted, like typed affidavits or whatever they said, and that she watched a video in here and they said Tiffany Browning, they said my name, and they said, oh, it was definitely her. I saw it in the video and I was able to get back down to my body on the ground and tell my body on the ground that she did it, and that they even went ahead and signed off on a couple other shit, which by the way, when your player gets killed, whatever's floating above your head, they will literally try to pin you for whatever it is that they did or set you up for that was floating that may or may not have been done in real life, like a hit and run or some other shit, right? And that's what they do. So they killed my player when I'm not even in there to defend myself and have never agreed for them to use my fucking body or anybody else's body illegally, after, especially after all they've done for 2 fucking years is traumatize me the whole time, calling me a slut and a fucking stupid dumb bitch, and you're spreading these STDs around while these girls over here will put our bodies on, sleep with dudes, have fun, and then come on this side for points and be like, that bitch is spreading her fucking legs and blah, blah, blah. Or she's selling herself on Black Web. They literally have a Black website, they said, on a Black Web that's, I'm a fucking mom, okay? And I don't see my kids because I don't have a car. But there's a video on my Facebook that shows me with my beautiful family that they keep me away from to be a player hater so that they can keep getting away with what they're doing in Oregon, all right? In real life. because whatever it is, it's fucking illegal as fuck. And they know that I would go straight to the fucking FBI office because I've been threatening to do this for a long time. It's just that I'm afraid of the cops that are in here because they're really, really evil forces. And they just start snatching people up and deleting them or threatening them or whatever else. Reynolds, Reagan, whatever your name isn't, what's your code names? Kraus is somebody different. And I don't know, but there is a person named Carolina. I think she's in Arizona. She might have been one of the see-through syndicates that came up and looked at me at Mandy's house when I got the benefits from the UE that tried to pull me up through my iStem codes to get up there and fix whatever it was because they sent me bodies from Arizona, 3 of them that went on me like sweaters through my eyes. And people don't believe me, but this is true. They literally sent in Oregon after I'd already been here clean and sober for I don't even know how long, couple weeks at least. They literally sent me 3 bodies from state or from wherever. They went on me like sweaters. I can't see them, but I felt them. And when I was walking back to the apartment, it felt like I had bigger legs. So I thought maybe one of them was either Mandy or Katrina, who was not playing the game. Well, Mandy played, but Katrina didn't play. She was just used in here as something different I can't talk about. Slob on the knob calling, illegal shit. Anyways, point is, they put 3 bodies on me. I laid down in Mandy's son's room, and I felt the machine scan me up and down and up. And that's how I got backwards scanned in. And it's not necessarily that one of them was backwards, but it is because one of them was facing me backwards. So the sweater went on me backwards, so they're facing the other direction. So it gets really confusing. So any information that does come down to Tiffany goes in, out, in, or whatever. So I don't get the benefits of these ones who in here can get high up here and their body feels high or whatever it is that happens. Like it's a chemical composition between your mind and your player up here, which is how they can, give your body nutrients and stuff. But I'm not like that because I have 3 bodies on and they're on magnet cells too. So it's just stupid. But anyway, so they did that. And then they found out that one of those bodies, like I said, either on their chain had somebody that had molested someone in the past. It wasn't Kraus. It was somebody else from Portland. And, Owen or something. I don't know. I think that's their first name. But anyways, these are different people saying it through my mouth, and I don't want to bust it out. But anyways, I guess he's already in jail in Arizona or something. Or he lives in Arizona now. So anyways, point is that I can't see you guys at all, and it's not fair that they keep me here like this, and especially not fair that I don't know if the voices in my head are real or not with the wink next to it. Okay, they're real, and some of them are in law enforcement, and some of them aren't. But the UE from Arizona literally had me stand outside of Mandy's door and made me look up in the sky, okay? And they sent me optical illusions down here through my body basically to get me up there, a version of me up there to protect the situation because I'm a mom. All right, I'm a mom who should not have been put on a chain with those 3 bodies on me either. But I didn't know that they were sending me bodies like that because after they gave them to me, they told me that meant that I was going to be able to come up there and like control my player or whatever they're saying. And I was like, oh, cool. And I was thinking, yay, I'll be able to see people like on a house or something, and be able to see myself walking around or whatever in here, thinking it might be a cool thing because they had me feeling like it was going to be a cool thing, but they never gave me a login. I never logged in to see a house or whatever they're saying or a room or anything like that. There was a GJ's room that they made for me, like to celebrate me. There was a Sevens room. There was a Butterflies room, all these cool things that I did in here, but it wasn't really me. It's just, it was my idea with my power source, and my player, whoever it was, got to take credit for arm dances and all kinds of stuff that was amazing and shit, but I've never once seen any of it. So they just benefit and benefit and benefit and benefit. Okay. So, back to the sad part. So people have died in real life. I know for a fact they've died because my friend Ashley with red hair, who's in Vancouver, she had a boy and he died. Okay, he died because the life force got sucked out of him when he was sleeping. And the life force got sucked out of Buddy on purpose because they killed my player, who I think they were trying to kill me or someone else in real life. And it killed his dog instead, who was Slappy Happy, the one who was at the flop house after Tanika got arrested from there. The one who had the gun or whatever. Yeah?
Come here.
What?
Come here, I gotta show you something.
Okay, can you wait for just 2 seconds? I'm right in the middle of recording something.
Okay.
The one who had the gun or whatever, when she got arrested, he had a dog and he went out to walk it or whatever, and I guess she got arrested for the gun. But anyways, he's the same guy who punched me in the face and broke my nose for killing his dog. when I did not kill his dog, and I'm not in this game, all right, and this motherfucker really seriously broke my nose, and I was just going back there to get my stuff, and then I went there another time to get my stuff when he let me borrow this Stoli car or whatever. Anyway, point is that he punched me in the face twice then for me sticking up for him. I mean, for sticking up for Tanika, not doing drugs in that room because he was doing needles and shit, and he basically turned the apartment into a flop house when he was supposed to be watching it while she was in jail. And I was out of town in Florida, which I had talked to a judge on the power line through my iStem code, so I can't really see her, but I can feel the connection when the eyes, whatever we're not saying. So they want me to wrap it up because I got to leave the room, and then it's going to mess things up. The thing is that there's more videos to come and everything else, and some of you have seen some of it, but this is going to go to the feds over here in Washington State, and it's going to go to the cops in Vancouver, and it's going to go to the FBI in Portland, and it's going to go to the Portland Police Bureau again. And I don't know any judges' names or anybody else, but Catherine Zeta-Jones, we're saying, you're the one that signed this document for Tiffany, I guess, that is illegal to sign when she is a UE member. And a UE member means that she is not just upper echelon, but she is ultimate authority echelon, which is a new community of measurement that she committed adultery in a long time ago, they're saying, whatever that means. It just means that I had sex with AK, but I was not doing it on purpose. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't want to have sex with AK at all. It's just something you can't explain when he's forcing you to stay at the house and controlling your life. And you feel like, okay, well, maybe this time he'll fix my car. Maybe this time I'll be forgiven or whatever we're not saying. And that was over 2 years ago. So they're showing you guys something. I can't see it. Hopefully they are sticking up for Tiffany because I never know if they're sticking up for me or somebody different. And so, yeah, when I called and said they stole my identity, I wasn't saying that for any other reason other than they stole my identity in here trying to make me look like a bad person or somebody who did whatever I didn't just talk about, right? For ownership of the S Corporation. I mean, the Deity Group, I do live in Washington and I did tell them different things or whatever, but I do bounce around and no, I don't. I literally sit here and don't do nothing at all except work every single fucking day with these people in my head. Some of them are law enforcement, some of them aren't, and they're all worried about getting in trouble too because of the stupid illegal porn bullshit. And apparently that's why Anthony Cia's name got burnt and he couldn't change his name to Alexander King, which how do I know that? I don't know because the voices in my head told me that probably. And this guy is Reynolds, I guess, who's a cop, who is denying ever knowing Tiffany because he's never talked to Tiffany. And in here for the Game of Thrones, there is somebody in here who gave supposedly Tiffany 50 grand, which is $5,000 on the ground to replace my X5 that they did not realize was not hers in the first place. But this person in here won't give me the information to get the money or a phone number or a login or nothing to get that money for my car or whatever. And it's just messed up. And they did try to put some like 50 grand in my mom's bank, which I don't know if it was 50 grand or 5,000. But anyways, in here, which is also my money, I am $1 million baby for not just turning in the game, but for the simple fact that I've sat here like a gangster for 2 years, knowing I was a UE member, just waiting for the right people to get reconnected and to not get certain people in trouble for whatever they weren't doing right. They killed me in the game. I'm a mom who's never been in trouble, and I'm bleeding out of my pee hole because my kidneys are failing, and so is my liver and everything else because it's sucking the nutrients out of me and putting poisons electronically back into my body that's not supposed to be there from the Chinese cocktail. Okay, so what I should be able to do is get my settlement statement, which is supposed to be like $1 million that I split with a person on the ground to help me with the Savior program. Meaning I don't ever have to worry about my social security number being mixed with somebody else's or being said anything bad about it all. Right. And by the way, if you had the availability to, talk to any of my friends or whatever, or my ex who I lived with the whole time I was a mom for both of my kids and everything else, they don't think that I did anything bad to my children. I never beat my fucking kids. It was something that happened in here. And the later on stuff that they're talking about is because it happened in here, and it's the iStem code thing. I don't live with my daughter. She lives with her dad, and my kid is not little. My daughter is 13, a beautiful, smart girl, and my son is 22. So I don't have little little kids judge, whatever your name is that we said earlier, Carolina, or that's one from Arizona. Anyways, one more thing. Sarah's daughter really did die, and it was because of Blue's Clues, and it was not Blue's Clues being taken on the ground, which, by the way, Blue's Clues is the pill that they smoke that stinks. But in here, they Blue's Clues you, they give you a blue pill, and it is the pill that's supposed to disconnect your cerebellum or whatever, cerebral cortex, from your player so your player dies, and then you're just disconnected from the game. So she really did die in real life because of it, because Tiffany's backwards scanned in. And she's not the only one who's died. So we're just trying to get the right people involved to stop tormenting this woman right here to get her fucking millions of dollars or her fucking $1,000,000,000 or whatever it is for her to be able to survive and or a job and her not have to listen to us anymore. Because that's why she sat in the tent when she went camping with her daughter, because she can't function, because it's one person after the other, after the other, after the other, and they're sticking up for her, or they're in some heroin zone where she's spacing off and not even knowing what's going on or whatever they're not saying. And no, I'm not naked. I'm on the Anomaly Honing Beacon or Anomaly Power Source. So I really did say her name, and she feels so fucking bad right now because she did sign papers, and she knows for a fact that I'm a UE member because everybody's sticking up for her now. But they weren't earlier because that evil cop or whatever is the one that's on my fucking head. And he is facing backwards, and he knows he fucked up because he was sticking up for the child molester too, because the child molester is on the same. And I feel bad for whoever that person is, because he's not actually the child molester, but he's the one that rolled into the child molester's player, right? And he's been doing nothing but sticking up for Tiffany on the other side. But on the other side, he has to make Tiffany look bad for that evil cop guy who's never going to do it again, he said, because he didn't know Tiffany hadn't done this in real life with a wink next to it. He knows exactly what happens with the Red Devil Boy voice. And if you're in here and you go back into this situation where they recreated that whole thing that happened 2 years ago, where I saw the stars and everything to get my iStem codes, which are magic but are killing people, now it's double time, and they were trying to get it taken back out, they said. But anyways, you know the story about the Red Devil Boy voice and why they were so upset, because these people that got it in their folder thought she could see them, and she would have known because it was her player that it flipped on or whatever. But Tiffany didn't know how to explain it, and the UE didn't know either. They don't give a fuck. They just thought that this was a situation, and or they did it because there was a child molester on their chain. So anyways, I'm gonna stop tape. There'll be more videos. I really hope somebody calls me from a good place to stick up for me or be my partner or something, man. It's supposed to be the FBI or the CIA. Oh yeah, by the way, my ID scanned CIA 2 summers ago. Tiffany Browning, it might be in there. And by the way, I have also alerted everyone in the United States, like different juries and stuff. I alerted Homeland Security to be aware of this. I've alerted Interpol in real life. I've alerted FBI in Oregon, Washington, California, Arizona. And the UE told Tiffany that she is a UE member on accident, right? A test subject, because I went ahead and signed on with the CIA to investigate something different back then. I'll be right there. Mom, I'm on a video chat. Just 1 second. I'll be right there.
Oh, okay.
To investigate something way different, and it was about stealing social security numbers and changing identities illegally, they said, which I didn't know that's what it was. But anyways, point is I did agree to be a UE member once I was already a UE member on accident, and I didn't do drugs or whatever. But we went ahead and backdated it for the 3 years she sat on her bed and lost her life, because we literally were doing investigations through her eyes illegally, and a bunch of other people too, over here in Portland, Oregon, for setups in progress for the game. And not just that, we were looking through her eyes and everybody else's eyes for sex and a bunch of other shit that had to do with Anthony C as being a player and a couple other people. And they're just admitting fault because now they're all UE members, and you have to tell the truth because somebody's above you and they know that you, if you are or are not guilty. Now, when I say I'm not a rat tail, I'm not a rodent, and I'm not a paid informant or whatever, right? I hate informants that I know, because they're the kind of people that literally sit there and do drugs, and then they get away with it when they're trying to set somebody else up when they're doing drugs. It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, I've never been in trouble, and I don't believe in ratting. Now, I'm not going to say that if I killed somebody with somebody else on accident, if I was in front of a cop, that I wouldn't say, well, it wasn't me to get half time off of my sentence because somebody else killed them and it wasn't me, or whatever. But it doesn't mean that I'd necessarily say who it was. I might incriminate the wrong person. And I'm just saying that to stick up for some people in here who also got blamed and then got persecuted for being a rat tail or whatever, okay? But other than that, honestly, I believe like if you do the fucking crime, then you do the fucking time like a man. You don't rat your friends out. You don't da 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 da. But I don't do criminal activity. I've never hurt another human being on the planet, and I don't steal from people. I don't steal social security numbers, and I don't have a player in there that is me. I have a bunch of people that are UE members that do their best to stick up for me and everyone else and do what's right. But then I have a shit ton of other people who all they give a fuck about is getting their money or their plays or whatever it is in here that have been going against Tiffany this whole time because it's too embarrassing to stick up for Tiffany because they ruined her life in the sex situation and made her look disgusting with the first time a person was ever able to put somebody else's body on or whatever they're saying. They were on like skins from the 3 bodies that we carried in here and whatever else. And I'm the one that copied in the Nikki Heaton body on accident by looking at it because I scanned it. Plus all my pictures that had pretty facial expression codes, including the milky white skin one with the pink. That's the one that Mother Earth in Japan was wearing and had to go through the chlamydia smell report card and a bunch of other crap in here. And it's all traumatizing shit. So yes, I am connected to other countries and everything else. But bottom line is I never signed on to be a rat or hurt anybody that I know or any one of their friends either. Okay. And I died for this. Whatever this is that you're talking about right now, this situation that we're saying, Tiffany has literally died for this. And she's a fucking mom who's never hurt another human being on the planet in her life ever. Like we went down her timeline. She's the sweetest fucking person. She's never hurt anyone. She doesn't talk bad about people. She knows they fucked her over. She knows they stole her shit. She just forgave him and got over it. She didn't even take child support extra from her baby's dad when she was paying $800 a month for daycare and shit when he had a second baby and was giving her $350 a month just to keep the peace so that he would keep seeing his son. Okay, that's the kind of person Tiffany is. She's a good fucking person. She's never hurt her kids. And woman at the judge's office, please remember, I hope you can get back to your body on the ground. That the videos or whatever you've seen was not me doing it. It's exactly what I said. Okay. So the information's already in here and I'm not going to say what else because I don't know what else was in that report card because this guy said they sent several different things to different judges and not just here, but in Washington state too now, I guess, and maybe Arizona where I wasn't over there raping people with AK like they said before. That had to do with the fucking UE benefit helmet thing. Anyway, God damn, because it's a picture-in-picture thing right now when they're trying to prove their innocence, because right on this one, it looks like me, but on the other side, it looks like Mandy or somebody else at fault who also knows what's going on and is afraid too, but won't call me because she's not connected real time. She's connected a different way. Tiffany is the root to the Iwa tree. She's the one who quit doing drugs. She's the one who usually, when she smokes a hit of vape pen, she drinks Kangen water, which renews life force and stops these people from dying in real life. So if I was to smoke a cigarette right now, every time I take a drag, it would kill a bunch of people or a bunch of players in here. Blue's Clues does the same. So does to keep these people alive who are above people who do cocaine and Blue's Clues. I mean, smoke heroin and or Blue's Clues. So that's the only reason why I ever said, yeah, I know they do medicine or whatever. You should probably just put them in a corner and let them stay there hidden underneath a leaf because this is supposed to be a beautiful law enforcement thing that protects syndicates and people from being abused like Tiffany and these children over here who are thinking that their mom, Tiffany, hurt them in here because Tiffany has 21 kids in here and I can't explain to you how sad it is, but I'm the one that caught the 3 flying babies where it was baby Anton, baby LaShawn, and baby Antonimo Bay, which I don't know if that was AK or who it was, painted white. But anyways, because I was their mom. And I was their mom because they used her body in here to have sex with somebody else or whatever that was not her husband, and they got killed for it, and they came back around to renew their life or whatever, flying babies that when they would land in Tiffany's body, 2 of them, boom, boom, they would turn up into a big boy, but one of them didn't, and he kept feeling like, where's my mom, where's my mom, where's my mom, and it just gets confusing. But anyways, I'm gonna stop the tape. And LaShawn Clumpett is supposed to be whatever we're not saying, whoever he is now, who he's rolled into, is supposed to be exonerated or whatever it is because he's going to help me turn in this game. He has the computer, whoever that is. I don't know if it's Bo. I don't know who it is now. But whoever it is, they had the computer or whatever that we can use as proof of everything I'm saying. And I have like 6 other people in line for the same situation that all want the same privilege or whatever, to not just get their money for the brain stems that they've already submitted and stolen life force from their body, shortening their life, that they might do crank, but they don't really do bad stuff necessarily. And some of them do have kids, and some of them, after being in here thinking about Tiffany's way or whatever she's saying, being the savior program, to where if she's a millionaire, she can start the savior program, and a couple people, like, they can be a part of her link or whatever in here and get paid for the time that they already spent their brainstems in here illegally, right? And be better parents and not have to steal cars or not have to do this. People are like, I don't want to pay a fucking piece of shit drug user to do whatever, right? But the thing is that while you're sitting on your high horse, that I put you up there and pushed you up there, Amy or Tara or whoever, these people over here's brainstems were being stolen, and they've been in here be threatened their whole time when they're not even really doing much at all, and they feel like they can't do nothing because they were set the fuck up too, just like Tiffany. So with that being said, I really don't know who these people are, but I'm hoping I'll figure out who they are, and it's just a couple friends. If I can do this savior program, that takes a few more people off the street that were getting rewarded by the evil people, okay, made to feel like they'll get away with it, to break into people's houses and steal their shit when they're not home. And they may or may not have had heat ISTEM codes with my drone and my AI technologies up. Okay, by the way, there's AEIONU, which is part of the situation, which is the alternate echelon intelligence, alpha to the omega with Christianity in it, okay, to keep the evil out. It's trillions of dollars, like trillions of dollars, and it involves using drones, virtual reality, and stuff like that I can't even tell you. With heat ISTEM codes, you can tell who's in the house and all this crap. If you're law enforcement, or like when we're overseas and stuff, collecting of intelligence, and how we pulled up their bodies and we transmitted what they said. It's just fucking tight as fuck, but I can't prove it at all that was my invention and my AI program, with Japan being the ones that made the Robotrons at first, that we did in fact copy and paste and everything else to gather this intelligence, including all the information that was on my floor, which was not all the Black Cat box that was true. A lot of it was stuff that wasn't true. And the people that did do that big investigation did not know that they were not all the way on the ground. So with that being said, I would be an asset to whatever this whole situation is, and I would love to get disconnected, but they said I can't. Not just because it's making $1,000 million a second, but because I really am on life support, and I won't be able to get reconnected at all because they burnt my back brain, and I'm a mom who's never been in trouble, and I deserve the world, they're saying. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, Chinese butterflies. If you look at my Facebook, okay, I have a picture on there where I'm going like this, okay? This is Illuminati, and this is not evil, okay? I come from Freemason descent in my bloodline, right? And they are evil motherfuckers, and so is Skull and Bones. But Skull and Bones adopted me to help them, right, in the future become Christians, to get away from the evil. And with the Christianity involved with whatever we're not saying, and this is this guy, and this is my street dad, and he's the one that saved me from getting shot in real life, because he told them that I was not somebody who hurt my kids, because he knew who it was who set me up, and he wants to be forgiven too. So just so you know, I put in a bid for him to be forgiven, and he's the one helping the Illuminati thing go from being Illuminati to this. And this right here is what protects the Pentagon and everything else, and it's a diamond in the rough, okay? And we all have proof that it was too Tiffany's idea that changed the word upper echelon to ultimate authority echelon for the law enforcement, who's not going to let this betrayal ever happen again to somebody like Tiffany Browning and a couple other people in here who are women, who were literally being persecuted for having STDs or whatever, and a couple other law enforcement that are good people that also got bent when they found out it was Tiffany down here getting ruined, because they loved Tiffany, including Emily, who was her UE member upstairs of the Cora Street apartment that was attached to the manager's office. Which, by the way, if I didn't say it already, the UE told me that they bought my apartment 2 years ago when I crossed the bridge and said I gave the game back to the UE. So this is one more time. It's a big, huge, full circle thing where we're trying to get rid of the evil and end the bad stuff from happening and tormenting people, and make this a positive thing for law enforcement up here, being the FBI and the CIA, who I did in fact agree to work with over there in Portland for those 3 years. I just said I don't agree to do anything involving drug stuff or stealing stuff, because it was a conflict of interest. If you get what I'm saying, I'm not trying to get hit on the street of Portland, meaning a hit put on my life, because they want to say that they whatever collected their information through me on whatever that is. So there's not a whole lot of people that I know that do bad stuff. But anyways, hopefully you get what I'm saying. Or be greenlit, which is also something where people try to kill you or hurt you or destroy you or whatever what I'm saying. So I don't really hang out with criminals or whatever, but yeah, I do have a couple friends that might need to be saved in real life that could really benefit from this. And Tiffany is that kind of person. She said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a savior program. And when I get my Lamborghini, and I'm literally supposed to get a Lamborghini because this is a Lambo club up here. That's why it's on my Facebook, all right? Because this is 2 years that I've been sitting here traumatized over here, not to mention the 3 years before that. And now they killed me and I'm dying. And I'm probably going to die in 1 year, they said, which is so fucking sad because I wanted to be able to be a better mom for my kids this whole time. But I've been stuck here because they make me stuck here and trapped or whatever. But anyways, it would just be tight if I could go pick up a bunch of thugs, right? And be like, hey, let's go shopping for these people with my unlimited credit card and go buy a bunch of shit for people that need stuff, or maybe go talk to people and minister to them. Because this one's a Christian and she wants to minister to people, but not like the way you think, in a different way. Like letting them know that their brain stems are being used illegally and they might die if they don't take these blue pills to get disconnected, because there's like 1,500 people connected in Oregon like this that don't even know it. And we're not 100% sure if they can die at all. But the main thing is that it's still in their life force, so they will die sooner. And their parents, they're normal people, they're good people. And that's part of the Savior program too that Cindy was talking about. And London in the Sky. Oh yeah, London in the Sky isn't from actual London, but there's London in the Sky who does not do drugs. He's a good guy. And then there's Big Voice in the Sky, who used to be the owner of all games, right? That do pretend online bidding or whatever you're calling it. And some of them, and there's another one too, who is actually law enforcement, and they play my chess game up there with the paw, right? Who virtually from the sky pushed me over twice for 2 moves that were tight. One of which was about me something, and one of them was not good about me, I guess, because they switched it on the other side. And the guy with blue gloves, they called him Evil Federal, came down here, put his blue gloves on me where I seen my arms turn blue, and I gave him my iStem code so he could see what was on that line, right? And he came and he took my chess pieces and he went somewhere else with them. And they never came back to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steal your identity again, Tiffany, but by the way, we're your friends now. So please call me. I think I gave you my number. My mom's number is 360-947-0698. And the law is so fucking depressed that they said so much bad shit about me. Okay. Tiffany did really call Interpol, and every other state on the United States is aware of what's going on too. So you guys better be sticking up for Tiffany in here, because they went so many different places so that Tiffany won't come in here, or people won't stick up for her, because they're literally scared to death of going to prison for what they did in the FBI. They unrolled on Tiffany, and at the police force place, which I don't know anybody's names over there at all. But anyway, I do. I know socials, I know addresses, I know pinging addresses from laptops and everything. I'm not a rat tail. I'm just hoping the right people will come in and help me in real life. And they're swearing to God that if I was sitting in an FBI office that had virtual reality set up like they do in Arizona, that I would kill the competition. And yes, I am connected all the way around the United States with 0 phone connection at all. I flew to Florida, to Texas, and back, all on the phone with the UE the whole time, telling them when to take my power source off so that they don't sizzle and things don't rewind and whatever. And it is getting more and more confusing now, because a bunch of people have God helmets on that aren't supposed to, trying to fix the situation. So anyways, hopefully you're listening, and I need help in real life. And no, I never hurt my fucking kids. And no, I never hurt my friends and never stole anybody's identity. It was mine that was stolen in here for ownership of the S Corporation. I mean, the Deity program. Okay, bye. And I'm sorry I look like crap. I look pretty sometimes. I just look like shit because, well, I'm still working every second of every day I sit here. That's the other thing. This woman literally sits here on the bed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She has no life. She doesn't go anywhere. She sits here with nothing, no phone, no nothing. She works for Uncle Jim every once in a while. She cleans his house, and he buys her a vape pen, which, by the way, when you're synergized, these motherfuckers can take it up here and use it and ruin it or break it or stop it from working because they don't want to get killed or whatever. And they've stolen the money off of the prepaid debit cards that they pay Tiffany with literally up here so that she can't function like a human being and leave this residence where she's at to go to Portland to go to the FBI office to call the fuckers out. They won't let her do it. And when she calls them on the phone, they won't listen to her because they're like, oh yeah, we know what's going on. Do you? Because I'm pretty sure I'm the one who told Washington State, how this game was played and how it was played through cell phones. backdoor cell phones that Anthony Cias knows how to use. And
It's gonna be
okay,
on.
1 second, almost done. Backdoor cell phones. I gave them all of my email addresses and all of my past phone numbers and all of my past Facebooks, because it was also done through Facebook and phone numbers, which I don't know if I said this already. Anyways, yes. Okay, so that's how it was played, to ruin people's identities and to steal points and to steal people to put on your team or whatever. And it's all up there, but they took credit for it in a different way, and it didn't go all the way to the ground. And I never did put whatever's in my books, but I have a lot of shit in my books, and I charge shit off to the stars. And you can't see it back here, but I have an AEIONU wall and an Ultimate Authority echelon wall. And by the way, internal affairs, $0.7 million earned / saved with TIFFs, London's and Big Voice in the Skies bitmap hierarchy. And it says, oh, okay, yeah. And then there's the insurance thing where we are all at lieu of notice because of Tiffany's ISTEM codes pulling us in here. They should have never given them to anybody else, right? Because anybody who's ever had their DOL picture taken, or they look into the computer system that connects them to the beast that Tiffany's connected to, is almost just as liable as whatever as somebody who went to jail or prison that looked at a camera and had their picture taken. Ouch. That was me getting it. Really? Yeah. God damn, that hurt. Anyway, yeah. So it is a threat too. So, okay, I guess that's it. LaShawn Columbus says, I love you, sister. Thank you for calling me penmanship papers in the past. And it was not Bo. It was someone else named Anthony Cias, who was not telling anybody's business either, because you're not allowed to do that when you're a paid informant who got, blacklisted or burnt. Who Anthony Cias is my best friend. I just hate him because he won't be best friends with me without me having sex with him. So he won't help me. He won't leave me with the car. He won't help me with money or nothing unless I have sex with him or whatever. And I did have to, by the way, go all the way to Portland to get my phone turned back on. And Big Voice in the Sky, he did not leave me the Apple laptop. And we are the ones that's supposed to be having scotch and stogies or whatever you want to call it. But I'm not in there to have them with you. But hopefully at some point here, we'll be able to do that on the ground. Maybe I can meet with you in real life. And we can celebrate the big win and the big accomplishment of people being able to say that Tiffany already said she owns the United States or North America, and she owns Europe with London and Big Voice in the Sky, and that this person owns Asia, if it ever goes that far. And it's not what we're not saying. So anyways, crap, there was one more thing. We love you, Kelly, and your wife. He was the last one to fold his hand on Tiffany K. He's a cop. He's not a cop right now, but his wife still is, and that's not their real last name at all, like at all. And he is a mean guy. And on the ground, he doesn't know that he's been in here set up for everything either, because he didn't actually play the Game of Thrones necessarily, even though he's the one that came down the pipeline trying to arrest Tiffany, who can't see him. And Charissa, who was protecting Willow. Willow was born in my body after I saw the stars, and a few other people too, where they looked really, really weird. And she thought that I was protecting a Chimo or whatever, but it wasn't that. It's that I can't see you at all. So anyways, all right, I guess that's it. These people are happy. They think this is going to be a good one because I said the judge's first name, and she's probably going to trip out, because there's no way in hell that I would have known about this, because this was done in the upper echelon. This was done under the radar, because whatever they do or don't have was floating in the sky when Tiffany's never talked to a police officer, and there's no other way that this stuff would have got to these people. All right, so yeah, they play the Game of Thrones illegally or whatever else, but please take this into account. Imagine being a police officer or a cop or a judge or anybody else when you got submitted transmission on, because I'm not saying this at all like a threat, but somebody else is. Imagine if you were one of those people and you got submitted transmission on to set you up for something that you did not do. So they did the same thing on a different game to set you up, and you got pulled over driving down the street, right? And there was a warrant for your arrest in the sky. Maybe you didn't have your driver's license, or you didn't have insurance or whatever, and you got arrested and could not prove your innocence. Okay? And these people thought that I took the blue pills at the schizo clinic, but I didn't. I faked it the whole time, not just for the win, but because my UE girls told me not to, because I'm on life support and because of what they had done to set me up in the past. And I am the one who called that one place over here in Vancouver, Washington, because they told me they had set me up, and they were angry about it, saying there's nothing here. It's just a closed file, Tiffany, or whatever, because they had to do a bunch of stuff that they couldn't prove because it didn't fucking happen in real life. Okay, and I don't mean to be cussing and stuff, but I love you, law enforcement, who's not making me look like a slut bunny still. I'm not a rat tail. I love you, Teresa. Thank you for sticking up for me that day when I told you I'm a UE member, meaning they said I was exonerated from everything and they were allowed to watch me sitting here for the last 2 years knowing that I've never hurt another human being on the planet in my life and that they have to keep putting it back in there. I didn't mean you're allowed to watch me, record me, listen to me, and whatever you're not saying, even though all I ever did was sit on my bed over there in Oregon too the whole time. So, and I never did any crime, so I'm not in lieu of notice for nothing. It's just that I didn't give them permission to go back in my timeline and pick up information from other people who it looked like it was them when it wasn't them either. It gets too confusing. I'm the only one who would know the truth because it was my ISTEM codes that they were using. Okay, all right. All right, well, I'm not tripping or nothing, and I don't know how to stop this video. Your mom wants you to go see something that's totally pointless to see, so maybe you should just leave it on. Okay, it's already going for like an hour.
Hanging from the tires, hanging from the mirrors. It may be in trouble because it will probably gone. You ever seen Silver Coffee? So, these parts there are baby and baby fire. Apparently, up to go, they don't feel like it's right. I don't know if the whole people walk there on fire. We were like, they were just we didn't see the people up there, but apparently, up to go, it was so town. But the thing is, when I first, 11, it was 21 degrees, now it's 24. It's supposed to be 34 by the hour. So gross. Nice.
So you're hearing my voice, but you can't see, and you probably can't see what they just did. But when the FBI was sitting in my body, they kept telling people she has 5 points of interest, right? And I've always seen a star with circles on it, and I thought it meant Secret Service, which, by the way, I told them they were my partner and investor in the Deity Corporation. And I don't know if they whatever, but they said I needed to stop talking to the voices because of what was said through my face a while back. When it wasn't me saying it, it was them saying it to admit fault for something that they did not do to a boy, but they did it to a girl, but they were trying to cover up for somebody else, but they were looking at somebody because they did it the opposite way because it takes it out on this side anyways.
Yeah, about an hour ago, I got a message from the office. They said that the office is closed all day because their roads are froze.
Oh, wow.
So I don't think there's even anybody out on the roads.
Okay.
Even with chains.
Okay. And I did send up ownership properties of whatever I'm not saying. So for me, it's not an S corporation because it is in fact a law enforcement agency, but there is stocks and bonds in it, and there is timeshares, and there is a lot of stuff. Rather, it's just for the people in here or not. It's not supposed to be for Tiffany. Everybody else she knew may or may not have been like a petty thief or a criminal or whatever, selling drugs or whatever. But she doesn't know anybody who's killed anybody in real life. And Anton Ide's name and picture was used in here as a scapegoat and a setup in progress who's black with long hair that he tucks up underneath his helmet or his hat, I mean. And he was my friend too. And he's somebody that Anthony C. has stopped me from seeing out of jealousy. Okay. And there's this whole other situation where somebody on a Harley, I'm not going to say who it was, who was also our friend, was set up for stuff that he didn't do either. And he's supposed to be endgame, triple threat, whatever we're not calling it, because the evil guys got a hold of my Robotron / my something I can't say right now. It had to do with my AI program and using drones, okay? And they may have blamed him for something, but it was not his fault. And I don't know what it is, but they do. But just so you know, it wasn't him. It was me. And it was me doing it as investigation of the illegal porn usage of whatever, which brings me back to the fact that they made me go to Oregon. Anthony Cias made me go to Oregon in an Uber because I was here at the house where I was basically telling him I don't want to do that or have sex or whatever we're not saying, right? Made me go to Oregon to get my phone that he had taken. Big voice in the sky that says, leave with just the empty backpack, AK, the black guy on the ground who in here was a white guy pretending to be AK, so that Tiffany can sign into her own program and get what she's supposed to get for the points or whatever, right? And honestly, it's because I took his dome piece off when he was here because I knew there was people on him. So I took him off like twice. So I was able to hear what that guy was saying to the person over here. Right. And they did not know that I did that. So anyways, he made me go to Oregon in an Uber. And in order to get my phone that he promised my mom he would get me to and turn it on and give me a laptop, which he did give me, a piece of shit one, not an Apple. He took both of them, pissed because I called him out about the car, right? Okay, but anyways, he made me go to Oregon, and he would literally he's like, you don't love me, you're mad at me, blah, blah. No, I'm not. And I literally told him that I don't want to do anything because I'm not married to you, right? So he made me give him a hand job to get the freaking thing turned back on. And yeah, I'm saying this because nobody really gives a shit. But anyways, he made me give him a hand job, okay, to get my phone turned back on and to get my laptop back. He did turn it on, and he did give me the laptop back. But the funny thing is that I literally looked up and I saw the drone / spaceship UFO. And if you go back in time in here and you sit in my body, you can see it. And it's an incriminating situation right now for the same people who don't want to get in trouble for what we're not saying. So just so you know, I got you, sucker, Reynolds, and a few other people for a different situation. And no, AK may have taken a shot, but I didn't. I sat there and I faced the other way, and I didn't even watch him do it because I didn't want him to get in trouble for doing things, for not picking up a pencil to knit your sweater when you're taking too long to say this. So it said, F-U, syndicate, but Cindy and Tiffany were all rolled in there. We own this, whatever we're not saying. Because Cindy was my player, and she wore my Raiders body, which was stomping out the game, with the thing where I stuck up for Mikey in court up here to go to jail to try to say some bullshit about a guy that was on my chain who had hurt his kids in the past, but she didn't say it was like that. And she was going to get points for not saying that. But anyways, meanwhile, while she's doing that, a different girl named Amy, who is basically LaShawn's baby's mom, kind of, or somebody who pretends to be her. Maybe it was Tara, or maybe it was Rachel's friend pretending to be whoever it was. Anyways, looks down here and talks shit. She's like, take a shower and come up here. I'm like, I can't come up there because I'm not you, right? But she didn't know that I wasn't actually in here on line 1, that I'm on line 0 feeding the Ewa tree. Anyway, so she goes up there to the presidential election, and whatever the cool shit is that I said or whatever, they got to all take credit for it, including legal porn, supposedly, or whatever it is that they do in here, because in here they go into rooms and they have sex and multiple people can get off with you in here. And I know it sounds fucking disgusting or perverted or whatever, but the people in here do it in here. They don't do it on the ground. So technically that is legal, but it's because it's supposed to be a law enforcement situation. You're not supposed to be doing that stuff. So we're just going to jump in and say that, because they are too using bodies illegally. And some of them do too have STDs, because they are still Tiffany's bodies with AK, with the bigger dick than most of these guys have. And we all hate AK because he is a manipulator. And he's not the master manipulator either. He's not Mexican Mafia El Jefe with 2 blue check marks. It's just because I did pull one of AK's bodies in here off of AK, and he's loving it, but it's just dumb. Because on the other side, Tiffany has to hear disease vagina and STDs and all this stuff, and they're not supposed to use my body, and I am Rachel Morrow, and I do think that she stole the money from the wallet, and I don't know that she didn't, because they can't get a hold of me on the ground because they cut off the game because they thought they were going to get in trouble, and I don't think she ever hurt her kids either. I just hate her. Because I know that she does needles, or did needles, in my bathroom, because I was able to look at her up here with a guy telling her don't talk to Tiffany or whatever, and she didn't care about you fixing your nose a bunch of times when it was broken, with somebody else's nose broken in there. I'm not going to say who it was, but anyways, it's just funny because there's a guy trapped in her body in here, and she does get off easily, I guess, or something. Anyway, it's just messed up because Rachel Morrow and Christy Duell and Marilee Schneider and Trinity Schroyer and Lana Stone, Brandon Stone. Okay, these are all really good people, and they're all Christians and shit over here in Vancouver. And the women's bodies were used in here illegally, and they never thought that I've ever hurt anyone either. And they might assume that I did drugs, but they did not know that I've ever done needles or anything like that. And I would be able to hang out with them if I wanted to, if I had a car and was acting normal. But the thing is that I sit here in a hermit bag, okay, because of what is going on. I cannot get disconnected. I can't stop worrying about it. I can't stop being pissed that I haven't been paid or logged into the system or whatever else. So it's called the Savior Program in Oregon State. And you can't just airlift me to the hospital in here because I am a chain gang member still. And that is part of what's making a lot of money. But it's also killing people in real life. So with that being said, Judge Mathis in Vancouver, Washington also needs this information that Reynolds is a dirty cop and he needs to go to prison for what he did. And if Tiffany was in here, she'd be able to prove what he did and didn't do, because they went behind her back over here, and they also went to Arizona and a bunch of other fucking places trying to make her look like a piece of shit when he is not a UE member. Because when Tiffany says I'm a UE member, it means I'm a child protection services agent protecting my children, and or a FBI agent who watches my assailant on the ground, or a DEA agent who looks through my assailant's eyes and sets people up, which I didn't know, but anyway, this guy isn't that. He's something different. So yeah, sorry guy, I hope you don't really come back in here and tell me when I'm listening to the song from NF, Can You Hold Me, and come in here going, no, like just a fucking douchebag, man. He's such a fucking evil force in here, and I don't even know if his body on the ground knows what's going on. He knows he's got the program on his computer, and he's shitting his fucking pants. And it's not called Game of Thrones either. It's called something different. Still kill or be killed on this side, because AK's not here right now. So basically, us girls up here in the United States of America, we basically made our own girls' union called the Deity Program, which is under the leaflet of Loyalist Royalty. Okay, not to be confused with Royal Loyalty or Royalist Loyalty or whatever, because they tried to do it on both sides and say that it was the same fucking thing, which was AK's tow truck company and whatever else they were doing. Because Tiffany did this as a stab at Anthony Ciaz, who he told Tiffany he put her on as an administrative assistant or something like that, or part owner to that tow truck company, which goes right back to the other thing that says that I've been in here since LaShawn put me in here as his administrative assistant to a towing company in Arizona who would tow cars while they're in jail, because I was going to be the only one that would be able to go in jail and visit them and have them sign a paper saying, we got your car for you, we'll hold it, but we're going to drive it until you get out or whatever. Anyways, point is it's all up here, and I didn't know about any of it back then, but these people over here are not good people. But these ones up here, the workers union that we're talking about, okay, 2 of them do crank and they try to hide, but the rest of them don't, and they are law enforcement, and they do want it to be a woman's union in real life that stick up for people like Tiffany and other moms whose bodies have been used illegally so that they can get them disconnected, and also be the savior program where we might have to go witness to people in real life in Tiffany's Lambo in Oregon State, because there's a few of us like Ashley and Mary and a few other people who would not mind going to people's houses and let them know that they have accidentally been pulled up in this situation. And it's a leaflet information. There will be counselors available and whatever else that we're not saying to handle this professionally. Okay, and no, Tiffany does not do drugs anymore. So let's do this right, guys, because this is a legal thing. We have you on blast, and there are a few other people who are bad people that are willing to send this to the right people to get them in trouble for not paying Tiffany, because Tiffany's supposed to pay them too. So yeah, we're not playing both sides of the fence at all right now, but Tiffany's saying that because she does too know kidney cancer. All right, and kidney cancer is dying in real life because he does heroin, and he will definitely help me to say that you guys did not help Tiffany when you were supposed to, and we're showing certain people that are supposed to be helping Tiffany and stand up for Tiffany that can force it through to the judges that this didn't happen either, or whatever they're saying. And literally, remember, everything that's said out of Tiffany's mouth is said by one of us. Okay, I'm not law enforcement, but I would have never just said what they just said about using it against somebody else in law enforcement or whatever. And Tiffany's not like that either, because she would never hurt another human being on the planet in her life ever. But you really do need to stand up for her because she's a good mom. And she really did have her Google account, which was Tiffany143458, taken out of the system at Google. They went behind the whole situation. They went to Google. They broke into their thing with nanonites. By the way, she has nanonites in her body, connecting her to these 2 felons. Anyway, they went back behind and they snuck in there and they banished her file from Google. And they keep telling Tiffany that they have a copy of it up here in the UE that still shows her pictures. But the fact is that she can't get into her own Facebook from back then ever again, showing her being a mom and a good mom with all of her friends and all their Halloween pictures where there was literally like 50 people going trick-or-treating with all their kids dressed up and everything, just good people that drink on the weekends and don't do drugs. Like, she comes from good stock. She's a good fucking person, and so is everybody else's bodies who were used illegally in here. And I wish I could just show you a picture, like here, be like, look, this was us, and this was us on our summer party on our staircase, and all these different things. Like if you go to Lana's pictures, Trinity Schroyer, or Janelle Henning, or a bunch of other people that love me in real life, you'd be able to see these slumber party pictures and stuff, but I haven't been involved in them for the last 5 years because I did do drugs and Rachel thought I stole her money at the slumber party. So I didn't do that. It was somebody else. We're not going to say who it was. Janelle. It wasn't Janelle, but anyway. And yeah, I look down because not only do I look like shit, but these people up here, see, we have double vision and we can see through this video who we are and aren't in here. And it's just crazy. Right. So when I charged it off to the stars, right, that I was the owner of Loyalist Royalty, which I gave it to the Royalist of Loyalty up here at the top to bless me later and to have my back behind my back along with my 9 shares out of 21 up there at the top where they don't even know who I am necessarily, like Mother Earth. And what's her name? Lourdes, the one that was the inventor or whatever creator of the movie Labyrinth, right? Who's a player in here. Because I stuck Scrappy in the Labyrinth. But I thought I was going to stick him in the Scary Labyrinth movie, which wasn't about water. It was about a maze that was evil, right? Because he punched me in the face. Anyways, he got stuck in this place where they made the labyrinth that was closed down. And there's business wasn't on. He was stuck in there for 3 days. Anyways, it's funny, but I gave them my crown and my jewels and my everything else that I earned in here because I'm not in here to use them. And they do have them up there somewhere. But somebody else came back and said that they did this first or they did that first because they're literally trying to copyright everything and they've split up everything in here so many different times trying to stay alive or whatever it is that they're doing. And whatever it is that they're doing is illegal because it's not supposed to go to this evil man that they keep saying, okay, and it is to that guy that we're not saying. Or anybody else at all. All of this is supposed to go to Tiffany Browning on the ground, who is a Christian who lives in Washington but wants to live in Portland closer to her baby girl where her son's at catch hopping or whatever else. And she is supposed to work for law enforcement in real life for a while until she can help them get these people disconnected. So she doesn't really want to work for the police at all. And we're waiting for her because she's going to have to because I am a cop and I was set up and my name is Reynolds. So just so you know, I was set up, he's saying. And he wants her to work for him to help fix him in here. And then someone else too called Hove is from somewhere way far away. Yeah, right. Well, he said his kid died and his spirit popped out. It's not what we're not saying. Just so you know, if your kid dies, you guys need to find the UE up here, these women, and they'll tell you what to do. All right, because it doesn't necessarily mean that your kid died in real life, but this has happened to actual kids, and we don't know who it is at all in real life. And that's the other thing, bro. I do have kids, and I've never been to jail, but by them putting me in here the way that I'm in here, I'm still connected to my kids in a line, and what it does is somehow or another, it kills like from the bottom up, so it doesn't kill the head honcho, and it was because of the UE member women who were attached to their children, who in here, it's a fake situation, that have fake life force, because if you go too far, sometimes you start losing it, right? So it would draw from your chain of kids in here that may or may not have been made up or whatever. But, and so it got messed up. So it ended up putting these benefits that were from women who knew what they were doing to clean house and stuff on these other people. And it was drawing the life force from their fucking children on the ground when it's not supposed to do that. Or maybe it was just in here, but then their spirits will pop out. But if their spirits pop out, there's still a hope. If the spirit doesn't pop out, you either literally got disconnected legally and you're fine, or something bad happened. So we're trying to fix all of this. We're not supposed to talk about this. And this is live on YouTube, and it is going to stay on YouTube. And I will make more videos until people help me with this situation, because I'm not going to sit here every day worried that my daughter's going to die because I'm in here and they're pulling from her life force, or Tony and Sal, which, by the way, in here, Sal got arrested for the same kind of shit that they set him up for too, and Tony almost got arrested for it too, and it's child abuse. Whap, wham, and whack. AK even asked me, you don't whap, wham, and whack your kids, do you, Tiffany? And I'm all, no, man, I've never hurt my freaking kids. I never slapped them or hit them or nothing. All right? So, anyways, because the cops were being called all over the place in here, because they were seeing these kids get beat up. But the thing is they were doing something on the other side called Fight Club to a mom like Tiffany, beating her up for being a rat tail, supposedly they said. And it wasn't just Tiffany, it was a bunch of other people that were involved in Tiffany. And every time they would do that, the UE person would die and their kids would pop out on the other side, beat up. And then another one would come in and fall in her body to keep her alive. And it would just kept happening over and over and over again until they stopped the Fight Club game. They would literally rip you up from one dimension to the next by your hair or whatever. And they used to talk shit about my extensions and stuff. It's insane. And when you're on the ground, you're like, oh, fuck it. It's just an alternate universe, right? Who cares? Just ignore it. Well, that's one thing. When you're connected the right way, you can ignore the voices in your head talking. But when you're Tiffany, these motherfuckers are literally talking out of her mouth, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And she cannot even see what they're doing at all. All right. And they do subliminally send messages when they talk through Tiffany's face, whether they're looking at the right person or not, to other people in here. And she has to let them do it because she has no choice. Now, if she had a car or whatever and was kicking it or whatever, she can ignore them and have conversations with other people. But just like this, like her mom comes in here, it's always something. And it seems like every time Tiffany wants to hang out or wants to have a conversation with somebody or wants to sit and eat with Uncle Jim and Mom, she's not supposed to, because it takes away from whatever we're doing. And it's not just that. It's that they have power sources on that compete or whatever with us. And we don't want to get in trouble for whatever's going on in here, they're saying. Okay, so by the way, Big Voice in the Sky, I don't know who he is, but he is a gentleman of sorts, and he is in law enforcement, or he will be if he's not already. And he's not the owner of the games. He's somebody different, way bigger, a good guy, doesn't do drugs. And he's the one that said, basically, we're already married in the sky to save you in the future because he thinks you're Tony with red hair in Portland. Okay? Not the one who was embarrassed and annihilated with everything else and the child abuse over here from the Game of Thrones or the Fight Club or whatever. Her kids are not little, and they are grown, and they don't live with her, and they've never been hit ever in their life, ever. Okay, her kids love her, everything's fine. And she doesn't do drugs anymore, but basically that guy's in Oregon. Big Voice in the Sky is the one who told Tiffany when she was at Sal and Tony's that things will be fine once you go home because of whatever this is. Now, she didn't know about the game, about going home in the game, and he assumed that she was playing or that she had a bidder or a partner or whatever you call it, someone to be accountable to up here, but she didn't. She was just the off-put for different people's power sources while they did other things. Anyway, so my name is not Tony Brown, and I am not Tanika Brown either. And Sal Cortez was mixed in with someone else who had a different name, like Chava, who was Salvador, over here in Vancouver, Washington. And it looks like they're like standing up against Tiffany for stuff that didn't happen here. It's just ridiculous, because the thing is that Tiffany put Chava's body on some guy in red suspenders, like the Aryan Nation brother, because he was a racist, right? In her mind, okay, right. So she's not in here literally looking at somebody. She just remembers a picture, right? And she puts a body on him. And she's like, there, have fun in prison, dude. Being a Mexican when you're an Aryan Nation, brother. You shouldn't have been racist. All right. And that guy ended up doing some weird shit, I guess. Liking some girl that was part Tiffany. There was a little girl in there named Willow. So she wasn't really an adult yet, but she looked like an adult or whatever, dude. It just gets crazy. But anyways, Chava never did nothing to no freaking young girl or whatever in real life, whatever they're saying. And that Aryan Nation brother never did say that he wasn't Chava. He didn't. And he hates you right now. And it was not Mandy's husband either. It was somebody else. Because somebody said it was someone's husband, but it wasn't. Or ex-husband. Anyway, Amanda Burgess is one of the cases that the judge said through Tiffany's mouth, sticking up for Tiffany, but he didn't know who he was sticking up for. But he's like, it's Amanda Burgess's case, right? But he also thought that Amanda Burgess did this to this situation, but she didn't. She was holding the charges for somebody else. So as they change different wives in here, the wife has to take the charges that the husband has, right? If it's child abuse or whatever, and they both have to share it equally and be accountable to each other. But the problem is Amanda Burgess knew about it, but she didn't agree to it. But there's nothing you can do when you're on blast for doing drugs or having sex with somebody you're not supposed to have sex with when you're not married. Okay, so she knew about the game way more than Tiffany did back then. But Tiffany knows everything about the game, how it was played, where it started, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, I picked up the demons from Salem from meth. It's the first time that I ever did meth, and my brain cells went too high. I touched the meth cloud and pulled them down. And me and Adam, our brains got sucked out when the aliens came down and crushed in my car. And yeah, I did see a vestibule miniature helicopter out in the field where the police were standing around it like they were going to slingshot it into the sky. And I did see it following me down the street in a meth-induced psychosis when it really wasn't following me at all on the ground. It was virtually. So anyway. And by the way, I know he's not actually playing, but hi, Ward's dad. I hope you guys didn't really lose your farm. And I'm sorry that I saw the trailer that Adam stole and didn't tell you that he stole it from U-Haul and gave it to you guys. I hope you guys didn't get in trouble because I saw it flip over in one of my visions like you lost a bet next to a black van with windows, which was parked next to where I was parked while Adam was chopping wood for them or whatever. So anyway, I guess that's it. I'm going to stop this and try to figure out who to send it to. Sorry I look like crap. I hate looking at myself, but I'm a good mom, and I miss my kids too. And there's a couple other moms that feel the same exact way in here. On the ground, they're fine, but in here, they literally have to stay away from their kids because of what is going on the other side, because of what can happen to their kids, and it's just fucked up because they can't undo this until Tiffany comes in here and fixes it, and nobody else is going to know how to fix it besides her. And it's going to have to be virtual reality, so we're going to have to set something up where she can do it virtually or something like that. And that's it.